Hello to all our friends in Italy and greetings from Israel. Thank you for inviting me to speak a little about the amazing story of the Jewish pioneers in World War II and Italian captivity in this very important online event of International Holocaust Memorial Day. Special thank you to all the organizations and people who are behind this very important event. Thank you. So Domenico asked me a couple of days ago, who is Bandi Bacci? He said this is a very Italian name. It sounds very Italian. And I explained to Domenico that Bandi Bacci is my grandfather. He's not Italian in any way. He's Hungarian, born in Budapest 1910, under the name of Andrei Weidlinger. His nickname was Bandi, and when he grew older, he got the additional nickname that elderly Hungarian people get, and that is Bacci. His Israeli name, by the way, was Abraham Dayagi. His family, his mother and father, were impacted by the Holocaust only in partial. His father died in 1940 before the Holocaust had reached Hungary, but his mother was a survivor from the Budapest ghetto. My grandmother's parents were also impacted by the Hungarian Holocaust very dramatically. Um, my grandmother's mother was a survivor from the Budapest ghetto also, and her father died after returning sick and exhausted from years of forced labor camps on the Yugoslavian border. My grandmother's brother was murdered on the Danube by the terrorists of the Red Arrow party who had taken over the parliament. So Holocaust was something that we heard about, we understood, and we saw at home. When you look at the picture from the Hungarian ramp in Auschwitz-Birkenau in 1944, and you hear the sentence all your life that they were taking like sheep to the slaughter, and they did not resist anything that happened to them during the Holocaust, you kind of live in a feeling that, you know, Jews did nothing to save themselves. Or to stop the war or to stop the Holocaust. But in fact, that is not true. About 1.5 million Jewish soldiers fought throughout the different Allied armies and resistances all across the world. About 250,000 Jews died through different battles and frontiers throughout the Second World War. Here in Israel and Palestine, about 30, maybe 35, some say even 37,000 Jewish men and women enlisted to the British Army, many of them to units of early enlistments like the Jewish pioneers that my grandfather joined in February of 1940. Out of the 6,000 soldiers that enlisted from Israel to the British Army at the early stages of the war, 2,500 ended up in Greece as part of the expeditionary force. They went there to try and help the Greeks push out the Germans and the Italians and prevent the conquest of Greece. That did not help. That did not happen. Greece was conquered by the German army and the Italian armies, and around 2,000 Jewish men were taken captive on the shores of the very small city of Kalamata at the northern part of Greece. This is a general map of Greece and the way it was divided between Italy and Germany. Very important to understand how come Jewish soldiers ended up in Italian captivity. Once captured in Kalamata in the southern parts of Greece, they were taken up north with the aim of transferring them to the main POW camps in Poland, then Nazi Germany. When in fact at the northern parts of Greece, thousands of soldiers, POWs, were transferred through through the northern mountains of Greece, and numerous occasions of Jewish soldiers, POWs in German captivity, who had ran away from German captivity, are recorded. So this happens throughout May, June 1941, and in some cases even further than this. And this is how many Jewish men end up in Italian captivity in Greece and later on are transferred to the POW camps in Italy. I'm not going to go into what happens in Camp 65 and other camps in Italy. I think you can tell me more than I know about the topic. I can only say that about 200 Jewish pioneers are kept in Italy for the better part of 1941 and 1942, and they're moved later on, 42, 43, to German hands once the camps in Italy are closed. Very briefly, four people with different stories. Arnold Fastman, whose letters, which he had wrote in the Italian POW camps and never reached their destination here in Tel Aviv, were auctioned on eBay, and thanks to the help of Domenico, ended up at the hands of his family. Cheyenne Nyberg, Benjamin Tandowski, and Yoel Taub, both, all the three of them, run away from the POW camps in Italy and end up in Switzerland after crossing through Lake Como, and later on repatriate themselves in Belgium. And Shaya even uses a tin can and engraves on it a love sentence for his country, for Palestine. Palestine, my love and my life. So this is the route that they make from Camp 65 to Switzerland in order to repatriate themselves. Their tragedy is in a couple of levels. One of them is the fact that no reports are coming from Italy. Men who are missing in action in Greece are basically missing in action until the better part of 1942 or even 43. Some of them are not known of until 1945 even. Some of them are reported dead, casualties. And in many cases where the soldier is married, his wife either is being declared a widow or is being granted a divorce from her missing in action husband, and they remarry. So when coming back to the land of Israel, when coming back to their families, they understand that their families had been torn apart. This is just a small clip of a newspaper article of a couple of soldiers who were able to pass through word that they are alive in Italy. When in Italian and Nazi captivity, many of their families are being murdered systematically by the Nazis in Europe. You heard Bandi Baci's story. I don't think we need to say any more. The fact that they had gone out to fight the Germans, the fact that they are trying to do something does not help their families back in Europe. Immediate threats on their lives basically are higher when in Nazi captivity than in Italian captivity. And even though that they are safe, quote unquote, for the better part of the first 2 years of their captivity, once the POW camps in Italy close and they are forwarded, they're transferred to the German captivity. their lives are again in danger. I'd like to just mention the names of two, Joseph Basil Shmueli and Rosenzweig Aryeh, who are casualties who had died, and the cause of their deaths and their burial place is yet unknown until this day. So just to summarize, Holocaust is something that was able to happen only because that there was a war going on at that time. The war facilitated and gave the Nazis the option to orchestrate this industrious killing of people, and this would not have ended if the war had not ended. And we need to remember that aspect, and this is exactly what you are doing today in this very important event. And I thank you again for doing that. However, we do need to remember that they were not taking like sheep to the slaughter, but rather 1.5 million Jewish men and women fought for their right to be free people in this world. And in that path, some of them paid with their lives. Many of them paid with their lives. Some of them paid with their freedom for the better part of 4 years, and had ended up also in the Italian POW camps. Me personally, as a descendant of the Hungarian Jewry, and as a descendant of a Jewish pioneer whose both stories are entangled in my heritage, it is very important thing to tell the story of both types of heroes, the one that were able to fight for themselves, and for the ones who were not able to fight for themselves for many numerous and various reasons. I'd like to thank you again for allowing me to very quickly speak here, and for holding this event, and wish you all that you stay safe and healthy, and grazie mille. Thank you very much. תודה, תודה, תודה רבה.